Have you ever wondered how the largest country on Earth came to be? Our story begins in the 9th century with the formation of the first East Slavic state, the Kievan Rus. This federation of Slavic tribes under the rule of a Varangian warrior elite was the cultural and political seed from which Russia would grow. Fast forward to the 13th century, the Kievan Rus falls under the shadow of the Mongol Empire. Despite the Mongol invasion, a small trading post known as Moscow began to rise, strategically leveraging its relationships with its Mongol rulers. Over time, Moscow transformed into a cultural and political powerhouse, eventually shaking off the Mongol yoke. Finally, in the year 1547, the Tsardom of Russia was proclaimed, with Moscow as its beating heart. This marked the birth of a nation that would grow to span 11 time zones and touch 2 continents. And thus, the Tsardom of Russia was established, setting the stage for centuries of tumultuous history. From a tsardom, Russia transformed into an empire, but how did it happen and what led to its downfall? The pivotal figure in this transformation was Peter the Great. A man of towering ambition, Peter was determined to drag Russia into the modern world. He modernized the army, introduced new administrative divisions, and even moved the capital from Moscow to the newly built St. Petersburg, a city designed to reflect the European ideals he admired. His efforts were not always met with enthusiasm, but Peter's iron will would not be denied. Following Peter's reign, Catherine the Great took the reins. Under her rule, the Russian Empire expanded dramatically. Territories from Poland to Alaska were incorporated, making Russia one of the world's largest empires. Yet this rapid expansion came with its own set of challenges. As the 19th century progressed, social and political unrest began to simmer beneath the surface. The empire's vast size and diverse population led to increasing tensions. The serfs, who made up the majority of the Russian population, were restless under the oppressive feudal system. Meanwhile, the intellectual elite began to question the autocracy's legitimacy. These tensions reached a boiling point in the early 20th century. The revolutions of 1905 and 1917, fueled by war, poverty, and a desire for political reform, shook the very foundations of the Russian Empire. The Russian Empire, once a formidable force, was on the brink of collapse, paving the way for a new era. From the ashes of the empire, a new power emerged. How did the Soviet Union shape modern Russia? In the aftermath of the Russian Empire's downfall, a fresh form of governance sprang forth. In 1922, the Soviet Union was formed, a federation of numerous nationalities, united under the banner of communism. The early years of the Soviet Union were marked by drastic changes, as the country sought to rapidly industrialize and modernize. This period wasn't without its dark chapters, one of the most notable being the Great Purge, where countless perceived enemies of the state were ruthlessly eliminated. The Soviet Union's role in World War II was pivotal, its massive military efforts playing a decisive role in the defeat of Nazi Germany. Post-war, the world was divided into 2 major blocs, and the Cold War began. This was a period of intense geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the Western world, particularly the United States. The space race was one of the most visible and exciting aspects of this rivalry. The Soviet Union notched a significant victory, launching the first man-made object to orbit the Earth, and later, the first human, Yuri Gagarin. However, the Soviet Union couldn't sustain itself indefinitely. Economic and political issues piled up, and in 1991, the Soviet Union was dissolved, signaling the end of the Cold War. The Soviet Union left an indelible mark on the world, and its dissolution in 1991 led to the birth of the Russia we know today. As the Soviet Union dissolved, a new chapter in Russian history began. But what does modern Russia look like? Well, after the Soviet Union's fall, Russia underwent a dramatic transformation. Boris Yeltsin, the first president of the Russian Federation, aimed to transition the country from a centrally planned economy to a free market. This shift, while rocky at times, changed the economic landscape of Russia, opening it up to global trade and investment. Then, as the new millennium dawned, a new leader emerged, Vladimir Putin. Under Putin's leadership, Russia has sought to reclaim her place as a global power, though this path has not been without its challenges, both domestically and internationally. And today Russia stands as a major player on the global stage, navigating the complexities of the 21st century while grappling with the echoes of its past. Despite its turbulent history, Russia remains a major player on the global stage. One can only speculate what the future holds for this enigmatic nation.